Hello, this is the Gator and Defiance Illusion. How y'all doing tonight? We're gonna start trying to go on at around 8:30 every night. Um, just start getting things rolling here. We've had several different things pop up over the past year. Health problems and dealing with all kinds of different things, and um, just got my guitar back, as you can see. I'm been tootling with it, trying to get back into it. Um, as you can see. Um, got my other guitar in the shop right now. I was going to do a quick book review, if that's all right with all you guys. Um, Great author, Robert Jordan. I actually picked this up at my local library for free. I had a free day about a year ago. And I'd been so, how should I put it, getting into The Hobbit that, and when I say The Hobbit, I mean Tolkien's works. I mean, he wrote so many fascinating books that my collection has grown um, in a big way. But now I'm starting to read into this Robert Jordan. He seems like a very good author. This is from the Two Rivers, Part One, The Eye of the World, the beginning of the Wheel of Time. As you can see there. Let's see. Jordan has come to dominate the world that Tolkien began to reveal. For Rand al'Thor and his friends, life in the sleepy village of Emond's Field has been pretty dull. Until the appearance on festival night of Marineh, a mysterious woman who claims to be an Aes Sedai magician who can wield the one power. Soon after, the village is attacked by Trollocs, a savage tribe of half men, half beasts. Rand and his friends are forced to flee, but his escape will bring him face to face with the Dark One, the most powerful force of evil in the universe. And let's see, the most ambitious American fantasy saga may also be the finest. Rich in detail, and his plot is rich and indecent. Impressive work and highly recommended book list. The richly detailed fantasy presents fully realized, complex adventure recommended. Library Journal. Pretty impressive. And this was written, as I understand it, back in the early 90s. Robert Jordan has actually passed on now. I think it was finally finished by some of his friends and co-workers, such as some of Tolkien's works were. I wanted to also give a shout out to Doom, Metal Room, CBC, The Big D, Hobbs Horror, Odin, my brother on this channel, Styles, my brother on this channel, um, Pauline, Dumpster Diamond Cincinnati, to the Scrap Dog. Everybody, happy holidays. Pardon the mess behind me. I've been, it's that time where you start going through stuff, start getting rid of things. Oh, something else I wanted to show. I have taken up painting in my spare time when I'm not able to read or anything, can't concentrate, whatever. So, this is just a small table stand to hold your paintings. Um, we here at Defiance Illusion like to try to stay on the positive side of things as much as possible. I mean, there's always those times or those days. I'd like to know and I'd like to hear from everybody about what they think about this election. Good, bad, pros, cons, whatever. Everybody's got their own opinions. Everybody's entitled to that. No negativity, no getting mad at each other, please. Keep the peace. One thing I will warn about, remember this is the holiday season, and there's a lot of theft going on, especially cyber theft at this time of year. So please, whatever you do, keep your information to yourself. If you got to buy something online, my best recommendation would be to go and get one of those little prepaid cards and load it up. If you got to buy something off the internet, that way, if they do go to steal something, there's only a lot of amount of money and they don't have your definite, personal savings and checking accounts and all that information at that point. But I'm a big book junkie and guitar junkie. I love music and I love guitar. I really love to compose and just bought a keyboard, in fact. I'll be showing it next segment. And I'm putting my studio together now. I'm going to start producing and putting together another band. And I will keep you all informed. In fact, we plan on, doing some things here shortly. Hopefully, y'all attend and our audience grows. Please tell your friends about us. Click that like button, dislike button, talk to us, leave comments, ring that bell. That way, you know whenever we're on. And just remember, it's time of year where we have to give thanks for even being here. I mean, so many things in this old world has happened. You really got to sit back and think, hey, I'm fortunate to even be here, be a part of this world. And, me and myself, that means a lot to me because of what I've been through. I almost got taken out a couple of years ago with an illness. And, it really, it was a close call. It don't get no closer than that. I mean, I was almost literally taken out. Lots of people say that and they're full of crap. I mean, all I can say is when they're telling your loved ones that you have a 1% chance of walking out of the hospital, you're knocking on death's door. I hate to say that, but I lived it, so yeah, I can go there. Now, and I'm not trying to be a jerk by saying it like that, but I'm not politically correct, so forgive me. If I offend anybody, I'm just a redneck, and I have a lot of big dreams, and I have a lot of faith in God. And that offends a lot of people. Both, believe it or not. Some of you might understand, some of you may not. I'd like to know what y'all also think about the school system now, not teaching cursive writing to children when they're in first, second, and third grade. I mean, they should know how to write, read, and everything in cursive. How are they supposed to sign their names to a check or to a legal document or something when they get older if they don't know how to write in cursive and read in cursive? Stop dumbing our children down and let's make them smarter. Let's make them smarter and better than we were. That was always the way I was raised by my parents. Um, and I'm not trying to wave the flag or nothing here. All I'm saying is let's do better for our kids than what we had. For those of people or whatever that don't have children, um, you know, try to be understanding and tolerant of people who do, because I know kids can get on everybody's nerves. I mean, there's no doubt. Never anybody, even parents, can, you got to admit that. Sometimes my child could be unruly. And running around a waiting room, and there you go. You got instant chaos and mayhem and debauchery all and you got a couple people sitting there looking at you like, man, the woodshed, woo! But the woodshed, they burn it down with the millennial movement. But in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with the woodshed. I think we need to rebuild it and start disciplining children again, because the crime rate's just through the roof, and it's mostly the kids that are doing the stuff. And then they sit back and they literally try to play kindly, dumb to the fact or whatever, that, oh, well, my kid didn't know that. Well, why didn't your kid know that? You should have taught your kid that. I'm just speaking morally. And there's stages in life, I mean, of course, a 3-year-old ain't going to know not to scream and shout in a public place. I understand that. But when they're 7 or 8, yeah, they should know not to scream in a public place. And if they do, you should jerk them up and let them know, hey, And remember, you can't be a parent and your kid's best friend at the same time. It's just impossible. It's an improbability. Also, I'd like to touch on one thing. This is the time of year when people get unnerved and unraveled with everything that we're going through here in America, greatest country in the world. In my personal opinion, my brothers and cousins and grandparents and people, they fought in the wars, and they served this country even in peacetime, and I have a lot of love for that from them. And what I'd like to say about that is, I have a lot of pride in our flag, and both of them. In fact, one of them's for heritage, and the other one represents our nation. And every man's equal under that flag. The other flag is a battle flag, and that's a heritage flag. And my family's been here since, from my understanding, probably before the 1700s. That's a long time. Our family records, we've never, stepped out of line. We had farms and stuff, but we had enough kids of our own to take care of it, and family members that would help out. We never went across that line, and I'm very proud of that with my family. I don't agree with that. I don't think anybody should ever be put in that position. I don't agree with that kind of lifestyle or anybody owning anybody. And I have never believed like that. And with that being said, we'll move on to another subject now. Music. I was so glad to see AC/DC come back. And I said on my webpage, my personal page, every dark cloud has a silver lining. And, they come back out with Shot in the Dark from AC/DC the day Eddie Van Halen passed away. I feel very fortunate to have come up listening to Eddie Van Halen. He was one of the greatest guitarists of all time. Great composer, great musician. I believe, all in all, he was a down-to-earth, good guy. Him and his brother Alex and Sammy and all of them, David, all of them. I ain't got a bad word to say about no one. I believe that they were all good people, in their own special, unique way. God makes everybody in a different manner, in a different way. And we have to remember that sometimes. To my friend over at Hobbs Horror, check him out. Man, he's got some impressive stuff on his channel. I mean, the dude knows horror. And if you're into that sort of stuff, I'm into the older type stuff. I wasn't really into Saw and all that. But I loved like Jeepers Creepers and, Phantasm. That was my stuff there. All the Nightmares on Elm Streets, I liked all that, I mean, who don't, I like the older stuff, Frankenstein, Dracula, and Abbott and Costello meets the Mummy, and, the funnier side of things too. What are some of you guys into? Reach out and tell me, what kind of horror films do you guys like to watch? Let's start a format here. What kind of horror films do you like to watch? Who's your favorite wrestler? What's your favorite sport? Me, myself, it would be a hard call between three sports for me. One, of course, baseball, the All-American sport. The second one, hockey. And the third one, I guess it would be four, if you could count one as a fourth. But the third one would definitely be soccer. And the fourth would be a tie between rugby and Formula One. I love to go fast. I love to watch the races, but I cannot stand NASCAR. I know, I'm going to get slammed over this. I know. Okay. I know. I'm going to get slammed over it. Sorry, little Joe Pesci there. I heard that they were supposed to come back out with another one of those Lethal Weapons with Mel Gibson and Danny Glover and Joe Pesci and all them. I think that would just absolutely be phenomenal at this point in their life. I really do. I think that there's no way to pass the torch because there's no young actors of that caliber that are out. Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, Joe Pesci, they were of a different breed than the actors that are coming out now. The actors that are coming out now are like mommy's boys or something. I don't know. Different. It's like I can live with it, but I'd rather live without it type thing. Hollywood has become so overrated. I used to care so much about it, and now, I look at it and I'm like, why would anybody want to live there? When I was growing up, that's all I wanted to do. Now it's like, why would anybody want to live there? Wow, what an epiphany. But, when you allow people to just destroy these mansions and these places and you don't lift a finger, and I mean, look what they did to the Playboy Mansion. Look what they did to all the mansions on the Malibu Strip. I mean, oh my God. And people are parking their RVs in the middle of the Malibu Strip, living in them, dumping in the ocean human waste. I mean, come on, California, get your act together. You've got things so out of whack, people can't even afford to live there anymore. And that's why people are moving over this way. Get your act together, lower your cost of living. It's not that hard to do. You cut here, you binge there, you do little things. You need leadership. Because the leadership you got really ain't very good. I'm sorry, but it's just not. Just like New York, they live under a cost of living that's just unreal. I felt personally some of that was starting to get checked with the present administration that's in right now, which I was very happy to see because I was like, people are finally getting a break with gasoline, electric bills. They're coming out with things to help people. People are going back to work, because the economy was just, under Obama, oh my God, man, he shut us down. I mean, between him and Bush, Jesus, man. I mean, that was just a nightmare. It was hard to live through them times. Even in, Ohio, where I live, where it used to be such an industrial, there's nothing, no farming, no nothing. I mean, there's just nothing here. I mean, it's desolate. But, now there's some stores and factories and things opening back up, and it's like, thank God, And then they're talking about taking away fracking. How are you going to take away, 8, 10, 15 million people's jobs because you don't approve of what they do for a living? What's next? You going to take away the trapping trade? I mean, I don't think so. Them rednecks ain't going to stand for that. I mean, that's just, come on. We may not approve of what each other do, but we're all Americans. We got to support one another. That's the bottom line. We got to support one another. We may come from different religious backgrounds. We may come from different shape, sizes, colors, but we're all Americans, man. We got to support one another. White, black, everybody. And I'm not going to say the old cliche because it's overused, it's oversaid. And it's just, we all need to come together as one collective and get as many people back to work. And those people that are disabled, that can't work because they have a disease that, has sidelined them or something, help them find work, help them go back to school. Where's the schooling at? Now, that's one thing I can say about the present administration. They need to attack the schooling issue head on if they're fortunate enough to stay in. Because whether we like it or not, and I know a lot of people don't like this, at this point, it's gone beyond the Electoral College. They've been proven fraud in Michigan, proven a lot of fraud in Georgia. They're saying both of those and Pennsylvania should have all three gone to Donald Trump. And they're also reporting possibly Arizona and Nevada should have gone to Donald Trump. And it's hard for me to argue that point when I was watching TV and when you see these live broadcasts and you see not like small lines, but miles and miles and miles long lines waiting to get in to see Donald Trump. And then you see, all you see about Joe Biden is he's in a basement somewhere. The guy's not even campaigning. And on top of that, let me add this. When he does campaign, he's walking into a cafeteria the size of a regular size like Waffle House, and people get up and leave. I mean, come on now. I ain't buying this. Nobody else is either. But that's, my take on everything. I mean, Wisconsin is even being attacked at this point. I mean, there's reports coming through the back channels that there was foul play in Wisconsin as well. I mean, I know the Supreme Court said they don't want to make the call, but they will if they have to. And it wouldn't be good for Biden at that point because of all the foul play that is being said to have been done. Plain and simple. You heard it right here on Defiant Solution. We like to tell the truth. We like to tell things the way they are. And, we always try to, all we can do is tell what we've heard and what we hear and what we see on TV. We're not actually there, so that's all we can repeat. Now, I've seen these reports everywhere from Facebook to Instagram, Twitter, and the thing that makes it believable is as soon as they go up, Twitter and Facebook are taking these reports down. I mean, they're taking them down. And these are reports from the government. Democrats and Republicans are kindly opposing Joe Biden right now. There's more and more opposition coming in towards Biden. And Sorry about that. That was my dog being very evil. Anyway, yeah, we gotta keep our heads through this. You know, if you feel you can't handle something, don't go off. You know, go and get help. Remember, that's what the police are there for. They're there to protect everybody. And if you go to a police officer and say, "Hey, man, I need to talk," I need to talk. That's their job. That's their time. That's their red flag going in the air, going to say, "Hey, this person needs to talk to somebody. Something's going on," and they'll sit down and have a cup of coffee with you, and talk to you, and sometimes, a lot of times, that's all it takes. Sometimes you need to go to a minister or a bishop or whatever you go to and have a talk. Don't lash out. Please don't lash out. You know, there's no reason for you to put your hands on another human being or anything else. Don't get stupid. Don't get crazy. There's no reason to burn no buildings down, irregardless of how this goes. Irregardless of how this goes. And let's get back on the positive side of things, because politics always brings me down. But please get help if you get any crazy thoughts or whatever. Please don't never lash out. Let's keep this thing calm and cool. We're Americans and we have to support one another. One thing I would like to do, there's a coffee that is out, and it's called Monk Coffee, MONK. And they have a hazelnut, which is what I've been drinking. And it is absolutely outstanding. Probably the best coffee I've ever had. It's called Monk Coffee. You can look it up on the internet and order you some. They have other gifts and ideas. They also have teas, which I'm going to be getting some green tea from them soon myself. And I also need to get me a fuser for the tea, But anyway, question. What is everybody's take between living in let's say, what we call a first-time home buyer's home, and living in a manufactured home, which is considered a AKA trailer, in a good part, not like the drug infested and all that, not that. I'm talking a nice, like, senior citizens type part. What's everybody's take on that? Leave comments or whatever, and hit that bell, like I said, talk to your friends. I just wondering how everybody feels about that these days. You don't hear much about that anymore. And I was just getting off my dog. So, by the way, hold on just a second. Be right back. Hold on just a second. Pardon me. I've decided to pick up a new hobby. And it's called Paint by Number. That's why I showed you the easel earlier. And it comes in a package like this. Okay. And I think that will, well, first off, I don't feel like paying that much money like I used to for paintings for my house, for pictures and stuff. I'd rather do it myself. And this is like a fraction of the cost. And there's a little bit more pride behind it when you do it yourself. The picture I like, and a lot of people in my generation grew up with the picture, and I'm 50, is the bread man. It shows him at the table, clasped hands praying over his bowl of soup and bread with the Bible sitting there. And that always kind of struck close to home for me. And I know everybody's thinking, oh, God, this guy's into heavy metal and he's talking about God, and religious stuff. You would be surprised how many guys in, heavy metal and the blues believe in God and are actually Christians, some of these people. And distance themselves from Hollywood and that lifestyle. Hollywood has become such a cesspool that really, just the dirtiest of the dirty really stay there. Everybody else is trying to get, it's like, get the hell out of here. Hard to imagine. I can't even fathom what Los Angeles was like when I was 16 compared to what it is now. That's how far downhill it's gone. And the biggest problem is, you can't put everything on a governor unless the governor makes a personal call. The governor has several people like mayors and everything under him. We need to start checking our mayors and stuff. And we need to let them know you have a job to do your job. If you don't do your job, we're going to impeach you, and then we're going to bring charges up against you, and we're going to run you out of here. Maybe if we start taking that sort of attitude, things might get straightened out somewhat. And I feel myself, a lot of mayors are letting us down and selling us out. We have several forms of government. It starts with mayors because they're over every city. And you know where I'm going with this. We have our own, in each house, in each state, we have a House of Representatives for the state. And we have, senators and stuff for each state. But every state, as far as I know, has a House of Representatives. Even Alaska. What a wonderful state. Never been there. Always wanted to see it. Have so much respect for the people and the lifestyle. I was raised in the country, so it's like, going back to the country would be like going back to heaven. That'd be like going, that's be like living in heaven to me. I don't like having people right up against me. I like to have my, personal privacy and my space and, places I can walk with my dogs and, go hunting, fishing and things and, spend time with nature. And I'm not talking, I'm not talking about going back to being primitive. I'm just saying there's a special place for real men. And I shouldn't say real men, but for men that have been raised in my era, where we hold in our heart our heritage so strongly that literally it hurts not to be out there. I could live in the cold. The cold don't bother me. I'm a snowmobile boy. And I love motorcycles. Triumph, oh yeah. Indian, oh yeah. Ducati, Honda. I've had one 754 1976 K Series Honda. Had one of those when I first started riding. One I've never owned that I always want to own that was what they call a rice burner for pardon the phrase. I always liked the looks of the Suzuki Savage 650. I always thought that was a nice little bike. And it had, it's more than enough torque to get you around and stuff, especially in small cities. I mean, Ohio don't have, except for like Cleveland and Cincinnati. I mean, rest of them are medium sized or whatever, pretty much. And Columbus, I forgot that. But anyway, there is a rumor in Ohio of possibly a new football team coming out. People are so disgusted with the Bengals at this point, and there's just the Browns are getting more of a draw because people hate the Bengals so bad now. Me myself, I grew up being a Dallas fan. And then when everybody jumped on that Dallas Cowboy bandwagon right around the time I was 15 years old, I said, forget this, because I've never been a bandwagon. When I'm doing something because it's me and then everybody jumps on the bandwagon, so to say, I jump off the ship because that's not me. I'm not with your clique. I'm not that dude. I stick to myself. I have my own opinions. Nobody leads me nowhere. Ain't nobody walking me around with a nose ring. Tied to a chain. I'm not that guy. Ended up liking the Raiders. Love the Raiders. I know the restructuring, and it's been extraordinarily hard without Al, being around. And I'm also a Patriots fan, and I know what everybody's going to say. Oh God, you said bandwagon. No, I was a Patriots fan before Brady and them even came along, so but this taking the knee thing's quite got me upset. I don't support that. We need to police, and I'll be the first to admit, some cops can be shady, but they're not, the majority of them do their jobs, go home, and are very good people. I mean, you can't blame every cop for what happens to someone, white or black, We have to remember that. I grew up in a village, of like, I think it was like 12 or 13,000 people when I was very young growing up. I ain't gonna give the name of the town because it's drawl now. When you say the word, everybody looks at it and they're like, "Oh, I want to live there," and I don't support that. I think people need to stick close to their roots. And they've taken my personal grow-up place, my town, and they've turned it so inside out that it is just like, oh my God, it's not even to even remember what it used to be like is almost impossible when you see it now, because now it's like a mega metropolis. And everybody says, oh, well, that's a good thing. No, it's not. Crime rate come up, of course, more people, more crime. And that brings me up to, I actually made a phone call today to Kings Island, our amusement park here in Ohio. The amusement park, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know who's running Kings Island. And I'm not trying to bash nobody on a personal note, but man, they suck. They really, I mean, if what I'm hearing is true and West Coast people have bought Kings Island back, they need to stay out west and get the hell out of they don't know nothing about us. They don't understand our culture here or nothing. When you go and I'm a truck driver, so I know what I'm talking about. When you go from California to Ohio, you've gone through such a cultural shockwave of difference. It's just impossible to even fathom. People in California, in Southern Cal anyway, are nothing like they are in Ohio. Believe it or not, the closest people I've ever seen to Ohio would be, like Texas people. And it seems like Texas and Ohio and Florida, all three pretty much all stick pretty well together. And I think North Carolina is joining that little conglomerate. Georgia, they act like they're coming on board with it. Kentucky's coming on board with it. Tennessee, we'll see. West Virginia, definitely. They're definitely on board with Ohio. And Michigan is starting to come back, to where Ohio, is considered like a friend state. Indiana has always been a friend state. Mike Pence, I'll leave that alone. And I don't mean nothing bad by that. But back to the bikes. And this is just a rambling thing for me right tonight. I didn't sit down and sketch anything out personal, as you can very well tell. But back to the bikes and the sports. To me, I love hockey, but there again, if it's not the Columbus Blue Jackets for me, Toronto Maple Leafs, baby. I mean, that's just, what can I say, man? I love my Canadians, I feel like Canada is a part of the United States personally. I think we should take Canada over personally. But there again, we have no right to do that. And that's just me talking out loud, thinking, I've been to Canada several times. And, they've really treated me well. Wonderful, wonderful people. Gorgeous country. Oh, my God. I mean, that would be a frontiersman's dream come true. And for those of you who don't know much about Canada, there's like 60 or 70% of Canada that's never even had foot laid on it as far as they know. I mean, I'm sure it has, but, nothing in the books, and to me, that's astonishing because that's right up our front door, or back door, whatever, however you want to put it. I mean, that's incredible. That there's so much wilderness up there. Why ain't we, us in Canada, doing a trade deal, for some of their trees and letting some of our trees and forestry grow? And, and we've learned a lot since the industrial age. So we know that when we cut one of their trees down, replace it with 5 new ones. That way, by the time that we would have to, even it out, shift back down here and take some trees down here again, they would have plenty of trees that would be big enough to, replace the one that we took. Just that's how it's supposed to work. And I think we need more forest rangers. If you got more forest rangers and people taking care of the forest and the wildlife, you keep better tabs on how much wildlife is actually out there, and you can report to your governor, and your governor can start at that time putting a wildlife fund aside, which every state's supposed to have. We all know this. And, like in Ohio, they just announced, there's hardly no grouse and no quail left, So anyway, so with that being said, we really need to replenish the grouse. If that means stop the grouse hunting, stop the quail hunting for 5 years, have people that do their replenishment times 10. You got to invest a little extra money into it at that time, because it's in such a jeopardy. And you have to reserve certain lands, and there needs to be more land reserved for these animals to live on happily before you actually start hunting them again. There has to be a check point there where you say, okay, we need to back off. Okay, you can only, take so many a year now. Because I've seen pictures that just absolutely are absurd of duck hunters. They'll have, I seen a picture with 5 guys, and they had maybe 500 to 1,000 ducks just stacked up everywhere. And they're all standing there smiling. And I'm sitting there thinking, where in the hell was the park ranger at? They're showing this shit on the internet. Where in the hell was the park ranger at? There is a limit on this shit. You know, stop being an asshole and just killing for the sake of killing. Kill what you will eat, and that's it. Okay? Quit being a prick. Quit being a lowlife. Those animals had a right to live. Now, yes, you have a right to hunt. You have a right to preserve your heritage, but your heritage does never, ever warrant you going out taking 500 to 1,500 ducks in one day. That's just absolute. And I guarantee you, not even half of them got ate. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. You know, what we used to do when we had a really good day, when we used to rabbit hunt when I was coming up, whatever, if we like walked up a couple, we busted a couple on the way when we was walking out, and we had too much and we knew we wouldn't eat, we cleaned them up real good. We took them down to the homeless shelter, and they used to make stews and stuff out of those rabbits. That's right. It helped people out, man. You know, there's always somebody who will eat that. Stop doing it on that level. We've never taken rabbit hunting to that level. That's just cruel. That's just absolutely absurd. It's just sick. There's no excuse for it whatsoever. If I saw something like that going on, I'm on my cell phone, I'm calling the sheriff, and I'm having your ass arrested. It's just that simple. I don't do that. I don't believe like that. You kill what you eat. Okay. You don't go out there and just shoot shit to shoot shit and leave it lay or stack it up, brag about it, and walk away from it. These guys evidently just walked away from a lot of it. Could you imagine trying to clean that many birds? Oh my God. Could you imagine that? For 5 guys, there's no way you could clean that many birds before 80% of them would be spoiled on you. That's what I mean. You know, that was killing just for killing and bragging about it. And then you wonder why, when the great state of Ohio and other great states like Kentucky and West Virginia have to put limits on things, you want to bitch. Well, you're the problem. Stop doing that. And I'm not talking to everybody there. I'm talking to people who actually do that sort of thing. You have no right to do that. You hurt the rest of the whole system when you do that. People who want to go out there and hunt can't go hunt because of you. You're the problem. I've been a trapper and a hunter nearly all my life. I was raised in the woods. My dad made sure I knew what I was doing. I've never wanted to hurt another human being in my life with any kind of weapon or anything like that. To me, that's just insane. No excuse for it. I'm very set in my beliefs, as you can tell. But back, like I said, let's get off that subject. It's just a sore subject for me. I would really like to see the grouse come back to Ohio, and because first off, that's a good eating bird. Second off, that's a beautiful bird. I love birds. A lot of people don't like them, but I love birds. Not just eat them. I mean, I like to actually sit back and watch birds. I think they're fascinating, and I like butterflies. I know that sounds weird coming from a man, but I do. I like butterflies. I like watching bees. I like watching nature. To all our brothers and sisters down there in the fracking mines and West Virginia, our prayers are with you. Also, people who do that in Canada, our prayers are with you as well. We need to stop forgetting about Canada. They are our brothers, and they are our sisters. And I would be proud to stand next to a Canadian on any day and help him fight for his nation. And I hope that they would feel the same towards me. But back to motorcycles, I used to be a Harley fanatic when they sold out, went to China and Japan and all that. I'm a big Triumph guy, always have been. And like I say, I like Honda and I like Suzuki. Don't know a lot about Yamaha and Kawasaki so much because I was so much into Triumph, just being honest. And I also love Indian. That's like the road dog of all bikes. That is the American bike there, the Indian is. Everybody goes, oh, Harley. Harley was actually number 3. It went Indian was the big one. Then Triumph came in because they were winning all the races on the dirt tracks back in the day. And Steve McQueen, Billy Jack Haynes, all these guys that, were actors and stuff, they all liked Triumph. And then there was Harley. And Harley was really number 3. And what Harley did to separate itself from Triumph, Harley was the one who put the shifter on the left instead of on the right. The shifters, all that shifted in the, I want to say, late 60s, early 70s. Well, no, because I had a Triumph 650 Tiger and its shifter was on the right. Yeah. And that was on an 8-foot long sled, universal frame. I had a chopper. And everybody used to call it the Blue Baron. And loved that bike. Oh, I hate I sold it. But anyway, I could probably get it back. But anyway, I'm going to get me another Triumph this year. And then I'll get me a backup, which will be an Indian, more than likely. Unless I find me a Suzuki Savage that somebody, wants to get rid of dirt cheap, that is like workable for me. It's got everything there where I can work on it or whatever, or it's already running, it just needs to run better or whatever. If I could find something like that. So if any of y'all have anything like that you all know about, drop me a line. Here, Defiance Illusion. Be happy to talk to it. I always like getting good information. And I put good information out whenever I get it as well on here. So, stay tuned because you never know what I'm going to talk about. Usually it's going to be music and the music industry, but today I just decided to wing it because I'm keeping my obligation. But back to motorcycles again. A buddy of mine has a Yamaha 650. And I think it's awesome. It's a good looking bike. Very good looking bike. So, can't say enough about it. I mean, very good looking bike. I was really impressed. I think that the Suzuki Savage is more my style on the 650 side, plus, Suzuki, that was always the big dirt bike. That and Honda, they ran head and head, neck to neck. And the whole time I was growing up, the kids either had, Honda or they had Suzuki. You'd occasionally see the Husqvarna come along or the Yamaha, but normally it was just Suzuki or Honda. Husqvarnas were powerhouses, man. They weren't like the fastest, but they were the bike you wanted to go up that hill. If you had like what we used to call Old Ezra here I almost said the name. I'm not going to do it. But in my hometown, we had a hill called Old Ezra. Anybody who's from my hometown, please don't say nothing about the town's name, but you know what I'm talking about. That hill was a monstrosity. Many, many, many kids got hurt trying to go up that hill. And that hill was such a menace. It's like it went up, and when it went up, it went straight up, and then it had a back lip, and then it came up and over. And that, I mean, man, there were so many kids that fought to get over time, and some of us got it, and some of us didn't. You know, I remember watching a guy try it with a 70 Suzuki 4-banger, and I'm like, there's no way. I think he made it 3/4 up the hill, and then the bike rode him back down. I mean, pretty much you had to have a 2-cycle. So we figured that part out. And Honda had that 80s. They had an 80, I want to say CBR or something like that. I forget CR, something like that. It was a little red bike. Buddy of mine had one, and he made it to the lip, but it didn't have enough action and throttle at the end to kick him up over top of the lip to get him over, you know, and then he came down. So I ended up trying it with a 125 Suzuki 2-cycle, and it worked very well. But anything under like 100, I wouldn't even attempt it. And that's from personal knowledge. I don't care how good you ride. You know, there's always that dude in the pack. I can do anything. Yeah, that's always the guy that you find on the side of the road, unfortunately. Laying there in the heat. Use common sense when you ride, people. Use common sense when you ride. Another thing I like to watch is that Baja, and I love to watch Baja and those trucks, you know, that they strip down. They're just metal sheets with big motors, 4-wheel drives, going over the sands of Mexico. I love that. Man, I love that stuff. And Mexico, what's going on? Send me some tacos. Want some burritos, enchiladas. Send them all. Love y'all, man. Mexico's all right with me. And, you know, I love our Canadian brothers too. Beer drinking heaven up there, man. Wow. My brother over at CBC, he you know, drunkard, man, he can play the guitar, and he's got a nice setup. That's all I mean, go check him out. Go check him out and tell him I sent you. Tell him Gator from Defiance Illusion sent you. He's a good guy, and he's quite entertaining. Check him out. And, you know, with Defiance Illusion, you know, go check out Hobbs Horror. He's extremely, extremely well-versed in the horror flicks. That's his thing. And, you know, my thing, you guys will be seeing more of that when I heal up this next year. And I take you out with me on video cam. And I'm on my bikes. You guys will be hanging with me some. And I'll be interviewing people and things at rallies and stuff. You know, it'll be interesting. So, and I'm going to be doing a lot of studio stuff. So, and you guys are going to hang with me musically, hopefully. And so, look forward to it. Y'all have a great night. This is Defiance Illusion, hanging out. God bless. Stay Dayton strong. Peace.